Some shrubs promise beauty and charm, but in reality, they're just robbing you of your time, your water, and your energy. They need constant pruning, they get sick easily, and they give back so little in return. And number 3, I guarantee you'll never see it the same way again after today. In fact, you might even head straight outside to pull it out of the ground. Welcome to Golden Seniors Living, the channel where we make gardening easier, smarter, and a whole lot more enjoyable. Especially if you'd rather spend time enjoying your garden than wrestling with it. If you love tips that help you grow more with less work and plants that practically take care of themselves, then you're in the right place. Go ahead and hit that red subscribe button and tap the bell icon so you never miss the gardening ideas we share every week. It's completely free, and it means you'll always have a fresh dose of inspiration right at your fingertips. In today's video, I'm going to walk you through 7 popular shrubs that, in my honest opinion, simply aren't worth the effort. You've probably seen them in your neighborhood, maybe even in your own yard. But here's the good news. For each one, I'll give you a low-maintenance swap that looks just as beautiful, often even better, without the constant watering, trimming, or pest control. These swaps will save you hours of work, keep your garden looking fresh through the seasons, and give you more time to sit back, relax, and actually enjoy the space you've created. And I'll tell you right now, number 3 is a real shocker. It's one of the most common shrubs out there, but it's secretly high maintenance, disease-prone, and far less rewarding than you think. So stick around, because if you're serious about making your garden work for you, not against you, this list is going to change the way you plant forever. Let's start with one that fools almost everyone, the Forsythia. At first glance, it seems like a gardener's dream. Bright golden yellow flowers exploding in early spring, announcing the end of winter. And I'll admit, for those first 2 weeks, it is a showstopper. But here's the truth, they don't tell you. The rest of the year, it turns into a sprawling, unruly tangle of branches that need constant trimming just to keep it from swallowing your walkway. Forsythia grows fast, too fast. Within weeks, it shoots out long, wild stems, and before you know it, you're out there with your shears again. For seniors who want a garden that's relaxing and easy to care for, this is not your friend. It's thirsty, it's messy, and it doesn't give you much in return after that brief spring bloom. Now, here's the smarter choice, the yellow twig dogwood. This plant is a year-round beauty. In spring and summer, it's a lush green. In autumn, its leaves turn a warm golden hue. And when winter arrives, its bright yellow stems glow against the snow or bare garden beds. You get color in every season, not just a 2-week flash in spring. Best of all, it requires far less pruning, adapts well to different soils, and birds absolutely love it. It's hardy, dependable, and it won't turn your weekends into a trimming marathon. So if you've been thinking about adding Forsythia for that pop of yellow, consider yellow twig dogwood instead. It'll give you the color you crave, without demanding your time and energy. And let me just say, if you think this plant is a headache, wait until we get to number 5. That one is quietly destroying more gardens than you'd believe. Next up is a shrub that seduces people every autumn, the burning bush. When the leaves turn that brilliant crimson red, it's hard not to be tempted. But here's the reality. The burning bush is like that charming guest who overstays their welcome and brings all their relatives with them. This plant is invasive in many regions, which means it spreads aggressively and crowds out the native plants that your local wildlife depends on. Over time, it can take over large areas, and getting rid of it becomes a frustrating, back-breaking job. What makes it even trickier is that it's so widely sold. You see it in garden centers, in front yards, along driveways, so people assume it's harmless. But once it starts dropping seeds and sending out new shoots, you'll be dealing with unwanted plants popping up in places you never planted them. And if you enjoy watching birds, bees, and butterflies in your garden, burning bush is not the plant for you. It offers little value to pollinators and can actually reduce biodiversity in your yard. A much better choice, the Virginia sweet spire. In spring, it produces long, graceful clusters of fragrant white flowers that attract pollinators. In summer, its deep green leaves are a lush backdrop for your other plants. And in autumn, it delivers stunning red and burgundy foliage, every bit as dramatic as the burning bush, without the invasive habits. It's also wildlife friendly, and works beautifully in low-maintenance gardens. Plus, Virginia Sweet Spire is adaptable. It can handle wet soil, dry soil, sun, or partial shade, making it a reliable option no matter your conditions. It's one of those plants you can put in the ground and enjoy for years with minimal fuss. Now I'm curious, have you ever planted something that ended up taking over your garden? Maybe it looked harmless at first, and then before you knew it, you were pulling up shoots from every corner of your yard. Tell me in the comments. I'd love to hear your horror stories, because I know I'm not the only one who's been fooled by a pretty plant. Number 5 is one of the most misleading plants in the gardening world, the butterfly bush. Even the name sounds inviting, right? Who wouldn't want a garden full of butterflies? And yes, the flowers are beautiful, with long purple, pink or white spikes that sway in the breeze. You'll see butterflies sipping nectar from them all summer long. But here's the problem, and it's a big one. The butterfly bush is like a one-way restaurant. It offers nectar to adult butterflies, but nothing to support the next generation. Caterpillars, which are the butterfly's young, can't feed on its leaves. So while it may look like you're helping pollinators, you're actually giving them a dead-end food source. To make matters worse, in many places, butterfly bush is considered invasive. Its seeds spread easily, taking root in wild areas and crowding out native plants that do provide food for caterpillars, bees, and other pollinators. That means fewer healthy butterflies in the long run, the exact opposite of what most gardeners want. So, what's the better choice? Consider planting buttonbush or spicebush instead. Buttonbush produces globe-shaped white flowers that are a magnet for bees, butterflies, and even hummingbirds. Spicebush, on the other hand, not only attracts butterflies but also serves as a host plant for the spicebush swallowtail caterpillar. Both of these shrubs are native in many areas, easy to grow, and incredibly beneficial to the local ecosystem. Plus, they're tough. They can handle different soil types, they resist most pests, and they don't require constant pruning. Put one in the ground, give it a little water when it's young, and then sit back and watch your yard turn into a true wildlife haven. And speaking of plants that cause more harm than good, the next one is secretly hated by professional landscapers. It's tricky to remove, attracts unwanted pests, and in some places it's banned entirely. Let's talk about number 4. Japanese barberry might look innocent enough at first. Its small, tidy leaves come in shades of green, red, or even purple, and it produces little red berries that last into winter. Sounds lovely, right? Unfortunately, this plant is one of the most problematic shrubs you can put in your garden. First, it's highly invasive in many regions. Birds eat the berries and spread the seeds far and wide, which means new barberry plants pop up in forests, fields, and wetlands, places where they don't belong. Once they're established, they form dense thickets that choke out native plants and disrupt the natural balance of the ecosystem. But here's the kicker. Barberry has been linked to an increase in tick populations. Its dense, thorny growth creates a humid environment where ticks thrive. That's a real concern for anyone who enjoys spending time in the yard, especially seniors and families with pets. And if you've ever tried to dig one up, you know those roots don't give up easily. Removing barberry can be a painful, time-consuming job. So what's the better choice? Ninebark. This native shrub offers stunning foliage that changes color with the seasons. Bright green in spring, deep burgundy in summer, and warm bronze tones in fall. In early summer, it bursts with clusters of white or pinkish flowers that pollinators adore. Ninebark is also drought-tolerant, low maintenance, and entirely tick-friendly, meaning it doesn't create the pest problems. Barberry does. It's one of those plants that looks like it belongs in a professional landscape, but it's easy enough for any home gardener to grow. Plant it once, and it will reward you year after year without spreading where it shouldn't. Now, if you thought barberry was bad, just wait until you hear what's in the number 3 spot. It's one of the most common shrubs in North America, seen in countless gardens and public spaces, but behind its polished look is a mountain of maintenance headaches. Number 3 might just be the most surprising entry on this list: the boxwood. For decades, it's been the go-to shrub for neatly trimmed hedges, perfectly shaped garden borders, and those tidy little balls you see in fancy landscapes. It's so common that many gardeners don't even question it. But here's the truth: boxwood is high maintenance, disease-prone, and far more trouble than it's worth. Let's start with the maintenance. Boxwood grows slowly, which means if you want it to keep that crisp, formal shape, you'll need to trim it regularly. Skip a few weeks, and those neat lines quickly turn into a shaggy mess. That's fine if you love pruning, but for most people, especially if you want a low-effort garden, it becomes a chore. Then there's boxwood blight, a devastating fungal disease that can wipe out an entire hedge in a single season. Once it's in your garden, there's no real cure. The infected leaves drop, the stems turn black, and the plant slowly dies. Replacing a mature hedge can cost hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars. Add to that the risk of winter bronzing, where the foliage turns a sickly orange-brown in cold weather, and suddenly this so-called perfect shrub doesn't seem so perfect. So what should you plant instead? Inkberry holly. This evergreen has a similar tidy look, can be pruned into formal shapes, and offers year-round color without the disease problems. It's adaptable, hardy, and even produces small black berries in winter that birds love. Best of all, it needs far less trimming to stay looking good, so you spend more time enjoying your garden and less time with shears in hand. Be honest, did this one surprise you? If you've got boxwood in your yard right now, drop a #3 in the comments. I want to know how many of you are living with this high-maintenance guest. Coming in at number 2 is a plant that's absolutely stunning when it's in bloom: the azalea. Those bursts of pink, red, purple, and white in spring can take your breath away. But here's the problem. For most of the year, azaleas are just green shrubs that quietly demand more attention than you might think. Azaleas need consistent watering, especially in warmer months, or their leaves will scorch and drop. They're also vulnerable to lace bugs, tiny pests that suck the sap from the leaves, leaving behind unsightly yellow speckles. Without regular care and pest control, they quickly lose their lush, healthy look, and their bloom time, just a few weeks in spring. Then it's back to being a plain green bush. For seniors or anyone who wants a garden that looks good year-round without constant fuss, there are better options. One of my favorites is the rhododendron PJM. It offers beautiful blooms in spring, glossy evergreen leaves for winter interest, and it's much more tolerant of less than perfect conditions. Another excellent choice is the oak leaf hydrangea. Not only does it produce huge, showy flower clusters in summer, but its leaves turn gorgeous shades of red and bronze in fall. That's 3 seasons of interest from a single plant. Both of these alternatives are lower maintenance, more forgiving, and far less likely to be chewed up by pests. Plant them once, give them a good start, and they'll reward you with beauty year after year with very little intervention. Now the plant at number 1 might surprise you for a different reason. People plant it thinking it's the easiest option, a classic in cottage gardens and front yards, but in reality, it's another high-maintenance heartbreaker. Let's talk about it. And finally, number 1, the lilac. Now before you gasp, hear me out. I know lilacs are beloved. The fragrance is unforgettable, the blooms are gorgeous, and they have that charming old-fashioned feel. But as much as I love the smell of a lilac in full bloom, I have to be honest, they are not the carefree plant many people think they are. Lilacs demand full sun to thrive. Without it, they produce fewer flowers and become more susceptible to powdery mildew, a white, powdery fungus that coats the leaves and makes the whole shrub look sickly. Even when conditions are perfect, their spectacular blooms last for only a few short weeks in late spring. Then you're left with plain green foliage for the rest of the year. They also need regular pruning to prevent them from becoming woody and overgrown. Skip this step and you'll notice fewer blooms and a less attractive shape year after year. For gardeners who want plants that take care of themselves, this is not the best option. Instead, consider beauty bush or Korean spice viburnum. Beauty bush lives up to its name with arching branches covered in pink blooms in late spring, followed by a graceful shape that stays attractive into fall. Korean spice viburnum offers clusters of sweetly fragrant flowers in spring, followed by handsome green leaves that turn a rich red in autumn. Both of these shrubs are far more forgiving, longer blooming, and less needy than lilacs, making them perfect for a low-maintenance garden. Let's quickly recap the list so you can take a screenshot for your next nursery trip. Number 7. Skip the Forsythia. Plant yellow twig dogwood instead. Number 6. Avoid burning bush, go for Virginia sweet spire. Number 5. Trade butterfly bush for button bush or spice bush. Number 4. Ditch Japanese barberry, choose Ninebark. Number 3. Replace boxwood with inkberry holly. Number 2. Swap out high-maintenance azaleas for rhododendron PJM or oak leaf hydrangea. And number 1. Give lilac a rest and try beauty bush or Korean spice viburnum. Before we wrap up, here are 2 honorable mentions. Plants that didn't quite make the main list, but are still worth avoiding if you want a truly low-maintenance garden. The first is pampas grass. Yes, it's dramatic and feathery, but it grows huge, sheds seeds everywhere, and those leaves have razor-sharp edges. The second is hybrid tea roses. Stunning blooms, yes, but they require constant feeding, pruning, and pest control. If you love roses, go for shrub roses or landscape roses instead. They give you beauty with far less work. I'll tell you a quick story. Years ago, I planted a whole row of Forsythia along my back fence. They were glorious that first spring, but by summer, I was out there trimming every other week, sweating under the sun, and wondering why I'd done this to myself. A few years later, I replaced them with yellow twig dogwood, and now I enjoy year-round color without the constant battle. That's what smart gardening is all about, plants that work for you, not against you. Now I want to hear from you. Which of these shrubs are you saying goodbye to this year? Drop the number in the comments. I'll be reading and replying. And if you've had your own garden disaster story, share it so we can all learn together. If this video helped you, hit the thumbs up and share it with a gardening friend who could use a few plant swaps. It really helps the channel grow and keeps these videos coming. Thanks for spending time with me here at Golden Seniors Living.